So before we even talk about anything, I was trying to figure out, I'd like to hear your thoughts. What is this movie about? Like, what is it saying?
Does it have a message?
Like Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is the movie, Beetlejuice and Ghostbusters, but I was especially thinking of Beetlejuice because of the stop motion and because of Jeffrey Jones.
Okay.
And Beetlejuice, and boy, if this movie did nothing else, it made me really increase my appreciation for Beetlejuice.
All right.
But Beetlejuice, you can say very clearly, this is a movie about chosen families and honoring the weirdness in ourselves and the people we love. And that's what makes us great. It's not something that, you have to look past. So I was trying, when I watched this movie again, I'm like looking for, I guess that's it. What's going on here too. But it's like, you can find your home anywhere, but it's like obligatory, like one line here or there too.
Yeah, it totally did not feel like there was a deeper message. I feel like there was a string of movies that happened during this time and earlier where and a little bit later, where it just needed something weird, like Air Bud, or like, it didn't have to have a deeper message. It just had to be, there's a duck. Mm-hmm. There's a duck in this whole entire movie.
It's just like the sort of your screenplay needs an idea. It all needs to tie together around a central theme.
Right.
That can get very tiring, but it's a formula for essential. A reason. And when you see that a movie like this is just missing that kind of spine, you're like, well, I have nothing else to hold on to here. It's just jokes and set pieces that aren't that well done.
I don't even totally understand all the relationships. Particularly the character of Phil or Philzy, the scientist. Mm-hmm. That is a muddy. I mean, he's kind of a goof. He's kind of a hero, kind of a coward. He's not dating Beverly.
No, I know.
But he likes Beverly.
It really feels like they combined 2 or 3 characters into him.
Yeah.
And I think Tim Robbins has a lot of good, funny moments in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like it's mostly he seems like a coward and a goofy idiot, but then at the end, he's just kind of playing him as a straight hero.
Right. And he seems like really intelligent and then really dumb. Like he's the doofus of the lab, but he's got these amazing insights and he's so inspired and so enthusiastic about science, and then he kind of poops out. Like
doesn't it feel like it's kind of nice that he never hits on Beverly?
Yeah.
But it also feels like that was a mistake. Like they forgot to throw that in.
Well, because then you'd have a weird, awkward love triangle, right? Because like they do want to leave open this is this a romance? Is it not, between Beverly and Howard? Mm-hmm. It is something beyond friendship.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we did it again. Scene 1.
Scene 1, the Duck World. It's a world just like our own, and the music is film noir. And this is 2 years before Roger Rabbit. But the movie starts, I'm like, oh, maybe this will be Roger Rabbit. And Roger Rabbit's like the epitome of what you're trying to do with sort of this kind of story. In terms of mixing really advanced technical stuff with like social commentary and then just a funny, silly story.
Fine, but when you only bring one character from one planet to an entire planet, mm-hmm. then you're saying a bit more than what you're dealing with something that isn't really even practical. This does not happen. Mm-hmm. Like just one of something existing. Yeah, it doesn't give you enough to like, we can't know this. We can't even know how to navigate this.
You're right. Roger Rabbit, you can relate it. You can they're a metaphor for race or for any kind of secondary class. But here it's like, doesn't this make you think about the situation where an alien lands on Earth?
Right. And then because it also brought with it a demon for some fucking reason, they just destroy the device that was capable of doing this. So then we're not at all curious about other planets anymore because we can't safely do it. Mm-hmm. We brought in one. Let's not. I mean, it actually feels kind of different but this isn't the government, right? These are just some scientists who they don't have the permits. There's no way. So it's like they took it upon themselves to bring in someone from another planet. So and they're like, we're all done. Sorry.
Yeah, these are okay. This is the scientific arm of some giant company, and this is what happens when you let capitalism run rampant. They'll poke holes in the universe and bring stuff over, which I fully expect to happen.
Sure,
one day.
Okay, and then but you'd think if they did that, it's a major company, and they're about to get lots of lawsuits. They'd go to great lengths to kill the duck, to kill the one thing that is evidence that they did this.
You're right. Yeah, it's a little too optimistic about humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, there is the scene where everybody's trying to cook and kill him,
which is it's the number one, not the worst scene, but it's up there.
But I feel like all throughout the movie, everyone who comes in contact with him should first vomit and then second try to kill him. Like, I think that's how we would actually. At the end of this, I'll pose again to you. What would actually happen if this happened?
I also tried to think of what actual thing would I have to see in front of me to believe it is an alien?
Yeah.
To believe it is an actual duck walking around. I mean, they're all responding to this guy as though I know right away that is just a duck that is upright and has arms, but
has consciousness and
it evolved arms and lost its wings, but still has its tail feathers for some fucking reason, which would only be necessary for swimming and flying. And by far the most what's the word? Uncanny, uncomfortable part of the way that this duck looks is its poofy butt. It looks like a baby in a diaper.
Yeah.
It lose that, and then I'm more in it. Just when he turns around, he's got a big poofy ass. I can't take him seriously, and
he needs to look less human
or more duck. Or wait, or more human. I need him to go one way or the other. He's in some no man's land that I do not enjoy.
So, okay, scene one.
Okay.
It's the duck world, and there's film noir, and Howard's apartment is kind of a sad guy's apartment, and he has posters
No, it's not. He's a cool guy apartment.
But he feels some ennui.
Yeah, fine, but he's killing it with the ladies. His parents still talk to him. The messages on his machine tell you all you need to know about him. This is a duck with his life figured out. I mean, maybe he's dissatisfied because we all are, but he's got a good life.
Well, he has a postcard from a duck lady named Michelle saying, "I miss your beak pressed against mine." And then on the answering machine is a voicemail from Wendy, another woman who's like, "Howard, I miss you."
Right.
Aww.
So he's a womanizer, is what I...
Yes, but then that never comes back the rest of the movie.
Except for he does have a way with Beverly.
Yeah, but it's not like... I expected him to be hornier for her. And then he has goldfish, and it occurred to me, so are all the other normal animals on this planet that would be on Earth, it's just ducks instead of humans?
Well, I mean, it's right? We evolved from apes instead of goldfish. So we still have goldfish.
Yeah, and everything else is the same, and indeed is proceeding so parallel that Raiders of the Lost Ark is Breeders of the Lost Stork.
Exactly, right. I know that if all possible realities are possible, this is just a little too close. I know it's just to make gag after gag, but it's but it makes it not interesting. It's lazy, right? Show me how the duck world is different from our world and the same. Show us the similarities, but how things are adapted and how things might be a little bit off. But it seems just the opening is entirely just so that they can do puns.
And I was wondering if maybe in 1986, not all of culture was just pop culture references to other things you've seen. So it was just novel just to see oh, that's like the poster for the other movie I know. And they're they have the Superman reference when he goes through the portal and there's a monolith in the sky. And
so you think these are nods for nerds?
Not necessarily. I don't know. I think maybe they thought people are going to just love that they know the references. I don't know. Just trying to be a little...
I don't know. The 80s aren't that long ago. And I think people were very plugged in to cultural things because they spent so much of their time at the mall. And the mall is just nothing but whatever people are trying to sell you at the time, right? So the Cineplex is connected to the mall. So you're seeing the advertisements of the movie posters constantly. I don't know. I think it's more connected than you think. I think it's just hacky. I do like that they used a real style of Budweiser beer that they still, it's a pony, right? So it's like the little guy. And then whenever he goes to the human world, it's just a regular 12 ounce and he goes, "Oh, big beer."
Yep.
And I love that they didn't shrink or have to miniaturize something that makes something that didn't exist. It's just, here's a pony.
That is nice. I forgot something I wanted to say.
Oh.
If you, if Howard the Duck arrived on Earth today, something that I think, like I would think is like, oh, he's a deep fake. And it's like, but you're looking at him in person. I'm like,
right.
No, some technology that I don't know about. There's
I don't
some
think
sort
I
of
could
hologram or something.
Yes, I don't think I could be convinced that. I don't think I could jump to this is something from another planet. Though no one does. Like, no one's like, alien. People are just like, duck. Ew.
Right. It's kind of I don't want every single interaction to be people astonished and needing to be convinced. It's kind of nice. But the movie we're covering next week, the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, and we've already recorded that episode. But I thought Mark Wahlberg accepts that he's on a Planet of the Apes about as fast as Howard accepts his situation and they accept him. She's like, I'm on a Planet of the Apes.
Well,
okay.
I like to think of him as the Cleveland duck, right? Like, so like he keeps kind of bouncing around around the same parts of the city. And if he becomes a promoter of a band that actually does pretty well locally, I like to think of them just like, no, that's just our duck. That we're used to him now. He's just,
hey, it's the Cleveland duck.
He's just that duck.
You mess with Cleveland, you mess with Howard.
Like once you see him.
Yeah.
And social media would make this way more sped up. Just like, well, there's that duck.
Remember on our Signs episode, we had a debate about, because in the movie Signs, crop circles cause all of television programming to be preempted with news coverage of crop circles. And I said, that's not a big enough deal. And you said, oh, yes, it is. Would Howard the Duck be a big enough deal to preempt all of news coverage?
It does not have the same issues that the crop circles do. My whole thing was that it was a coordinated mass crop circling around the globe in places where it would not make sense for like crime syndicates or like cells of whoever or like planned this crazy thing to do. I said that alone would make it worldwide news. This is just one duck.
Okay, so it'd have to be multiple ducks, and it'd have to be
multiple ducks showing up at different cities, seemingly unrelated. Like that laser popped in a bunch of ducks.
Yeah, that there is something inherently.
Headline. What the duck? Okay.
Howard takes out a play duck to masturbate to. We see our first pair of duck tits. Then he gets sucked out by a portal and it sucks him through the rest of his apartment building. We see a sexy lady duck taking a bath. We see her duck nipples too.
Very nipply.
And then he just gets yanked off of his planet and into the earth.
And into the scariest fucking... What is it? His luck is terrible. What do these guys want to do to him?
He lands in Cleveland in an alley, and then some crust punk thugs like find him, and
with
he's like
so many layers. They have so many layers: scarves, jackets, vests,
all kinds of different dues.
Okay, well that's very 80s, but these guys are accessorized.
See, I assumed all of the 80s looked like this, and he says, "I'm a dad doc." And we just right away are like, okay, this voice delivery just does not work.
Also, this is your reaction? I don't care how fucking dry sense of humor, deadpan, fucking swarmy, I don't know the words I'm looking for here. I don't care how fucking over it you are, just, as a duck. But you land in another fucking planet, like, wowzers. Or I can't think of another. God damn it. I should have prepared a list of 80s quotes.
So that happened.
I did a thing.
He gets thrown, these crust punk toughs throw him into the club where Beverly Switzler, Lea Thompson, is singing with her band, Cherry Bomb. And they're playing in these grungy mungholes, waiting for their big break. And he's just like flailing around, freaking people out, and he himself is getting freaked out. This might be my favorite part of the movie, just looking at all the weird 80s people. Then Beverly leaves the club.
Those weird 80s people are just our friends now. We know people. Don't call them weird.
No, I celebrate their weirdness. Like Beetlejuice.
Were we weird 90s people?
Probably. Oh, but the 80s were objectively much weirder than the 90s.
I don't know about that.
But he looks like he went into Mad Max.
Okay, yeah.
And then the Mad Max people attempt to sexually assault Beverly, and she
multiple times
starts to fight them off, and then Howard gets involved, and he's like, "No more, Mr. Nice Duck." Oh my God. And then he announces he is a master of quack foo.
Like, why?
So you know what kind of movie you're in for.
Why did we need that?
I like that Beverly's at least like fighting them off herself, and then he just helps her.
Right.
She's not totally a damsel, although at the end of the movie, she's literally strapped
to a train. Train track.
And then she's like, "Hey, why don't you come to my apartment?" So he goes to her apartment. He's like, "What a dump. This gorgeous palace that she lives in."
I love the way. Yeah. I love that fucking apartment.
It's beautiful. Yes, this is where we should live.
Yes.
Let's move to Cleveland.
An open floor plan. She likes him a lot.
Like right away.
Right away.
Yeah. Yeah. And she explains her situation. She's in a band, but their sleazoid manager's holding money out on them. And she says her career's like in a crisis, but never explains why.
Right. When was it taking off? Are you just like down on the last of your money, so you're going to have to get a job now?
Nothing like that ever comes up. Just
nothing. It is disturbing how she oscillates from finding him adorable and finding him like, you're such a slut. When she finds the condom, I'm so disturbed. Howard.
She goes through, because he falls asleep and she watches him sleep like he's a little baby. And then she goes through his wallet. She sees the mallard card and blooming ducks card and looks in his pictures. He has a picture of him with 2 sexy babes at the beach. And then, a loose duck condom.
Just a loose, no feathers on it, no wrapper.
And she goes, Howard, you dog.
Oh, I should have expected that knowing you. You don't know him. And if a giant baby from outer space came and then you found out that those fucked and then they had tiny little baby condoms, I'm just saying, like, which is he? Is he a baby to you, or is he a guy that fucks?
Or is
it's
it
a
like,
weird mixture?
Hey, good for you being responsible.
No, that's not what that was. I mean, that's not the reaction.
Then she looks at him fondly as he's sleeping, like sucking his thumb, and she's like, "What am I gonna do with you, Ducky?" She keeps calling him Ducky throughout the movie. It doesn't.
Unearned pet names I love, actually.
What?
I don't like baby names, and like there are names I don't like, but I love it when in a movie when someone immediately gives someone a pet name. They almost never want it. I like that he's Philzy when his name is Phil. Like, why are we calling him this? I do this. I give people pet names all the time. I guess
that's why you like it. Yeah, I was expecting you to say the very opposite.
Oh, no, I like it.
Well, yeah, the next day she takes him to the Natural History Museum to see her friend, played by Tim Robbins, as Phil. I mean, what's Phil's deal?
He's like eccentric, and he seems to be doing an impression of a few other scientist characters, or just slapsticky guys I guess we might have met at some point in cinema. I don't think he knows what he is. I don't think he was being directed in any sort of way. And he just knows he's going to be helpful, but he's also supposed to be unhelpful. He's not helpful. He knows he's not supposed to be helpful right away. So he's got to be very like fumbly and overly excited and overly intrusive, which I guess I could buy that for a scientist. Mm-hmm. He seems like he's winging it. I think he's a talented actor who is just like, they're not telling me what to do. I'm just going to do everything.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a lot. I mean, sometimes he's like the Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters. And then other times he's like a lot more competent and active as a character.
Right.
His relationship to Beverly seems to fluctuate. Yeah. So they take him, he examines him, and he's like, well, first he says, it's a bird. It's a plane. It's God. A duck.
It's a bird. You had it right the first time.
That's when I wrote my note of like, maybe in the 80s it was enough just to be like, you know what that is, right? That's Superman, people.
I guess.
And then people laughed. This is the height of comedy. And he starts talking like Donald Duck to Howard. And then Howard looks at the camera and he's like, this is one of Earth's greatest minds here. Oh, brother.
How did you even know the name of this planet? Yeah, she did tell you.
She told him, yeah.
Fine, don't tell him.
And then Phil explains, he's like, okay, so here's what your deal is. I think humans evolved from monkeys, which no, they didn't. They evolved from a common ancestor, but okay. He would know that as a paleontologist. And then he's like, on your world, everybody evolved from a duck. And Howard's like, well, every school child on Duck World knows that, you idiot.
Yeah, but he guessed it like within 5 minutes of knowing you.
I know, it's impressive.
Asshole. I mean, he even had a chart. Where'd you get the chart?
Well, they are imagining the chart.
Oh, okay. And where'd you get that imagination? Okay.
He's a lab assistant. He's not an actual like real scientist. He's
Which
just
is a huge, hilarious joke.
I guess
at the end of this scene, when like we're relying on you. I was impressed that Beverly knew any scientists. Who cares if he's a janitor right now, or just like a tech?
Right. You
got to start at the bottom.
If we had a science issue. We know one person.
We do?
Your stepbrother. Who like is a chemist,
a very impressive something that deals with coronavirus type cells. I know that.
I know that no matter what we went to him with, he'd be like, I'm a blank, not a blank.
Well, that's fine. But he'd know a blank,
Yeah.
and then he'd get us to the right place. I'm
you're right,
so
yes.
glad you mentioned this, because now I was worried. Like, I don't know a scientist.
But Howard is frustrated this time, and
It's like, Howard, do you have any other fucking options? Do you have any other? Why are you so over it with everything? This was a good idea. It's not nothing.
yeah, and it's only been a day.
It's been one fucking day.
Imagine how much more you'll learn tomorrow.
She's got a life. She's not making very much money right now. She's taking you to the fucking museum.
Her career is falling apart,
It's
she
falling
says.
apart.
The
And
cherry bombs are, there's lots of tension.
They seem fine. It's just they're not making any money. Keep
So
it straight.
they go their separate ways. Howard goes off by himself. He goes to the unemployment office.
Who sends him to a sex dungeon? A cum cleanup, I
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah.
At a fuck spa, you call it. That's good.
Yeah, I was trying to like the Wikipedia description, because this is a spa where couples can like fuck in hot tubs, and like it seems like it's decorated for that purpose.
It does.
And so I looked up. So Wikipedia calls it a romance spa. So I googled romance spa because I'm like, should we go to one?
But it's hot tubs. There's so much of other people's semen.
Oh,
Like
well-
when we bought this house and we had the jets inspected in our bathtub, and it shot out years
Hair.
of pubes from someone else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
the
think about
jets,
that
they
sometimes.
suck in and then they push out.
Well, I was looking, but I was just like, do these exist? Are these a real thing? Should we go to them?
It seems
The
illegal.
responses I got were couples massage, but like we've gotten a couples massage. It was nothing like this.
There's no red lights and ducks, nothing.
That's what I want, though. Wouldn't you like to go to like one of those cliche honeymoon hotels with the heart-shaped bed?
bed, yeah. Well, no, the heart-shaped hot tub.
Both.
But yeah, but if the heart-shaped bed, then I can't lay my head next to you because I'm on the other side of the
You're
heart.
in the middle of the.
Yeah, and then my head's just hanging off, and you're having a great time on one of the hump of the hearts.
That's true.
Total hump.
But
of the heart.
would you like to go to? Shouldn't we go to Niagara Falls and do that? We never had a proper honeymoon.
Niagara Falls seems spritzy. Like I don't want to be next to something beautiful, then just like fucking spraying me the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Let's do something majestic. I liked when we went to a scenic park that time in Washington.
What? Oh, that. Okay.
That's a national park.
Yeah.
We went really high up. All right. So I think so Howard's finding life on Earth tricky. Where the fuck has this man been sleeping? Can't he just build a nest? Why does he need a whole house? So he finds that, I walk right by the chair, my living room chair that I came in this planet on. And I hear that siren song. I will say her music, the original songs for this movie are good. If I'd watched this movie growing up, I'd like all these songs. I don't mind them. They're a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little sentimental for my taste. A little on the nose for the actual things that are happening in the movie. But
They were written by Thomas Dolby. He of She Blinded Me with Science. He wrote the Cherry Bomb songs. Leah Thompson did her own singing.
it did sound like her.
Though I would put her in the Hall of Fame of bad fake guitar playing.
Okay, well, that's your own kind of private hell that you invented. We will still love her. I like her in this. She's the best thing about the movie.
I like her too. I wouldn't say she's the best thing, but I like her.
I can't say Jim Jeffries.
Jeffrey Jones.
They're all bad. Doesn't matter what kind of Jeffrey I say.
Any kind of JJ. Yeah, JJ Abrams.
Jeffrey Schmeshmeen. So just Jeffries are bad. Right. Okay. Howard now breezes right into this, even though he got clocked immediately for being a child the last time he tried to get in here. But now they're like, oh yeah, that Cleveland duck. So he comes in and I guess he's just watching her do her thing and he overhears the grossest. This is just not a safe town for women, I'd like to say. Talking like with bodacious Beverly, I'm holding on all of her money because she won't fuck. And they're all think that's real funny. Him and his cronies, and he's got a big wad of money. He puts it in his pocket, and Howard will not stand for it.
Because she had told Howard earlier, we have this sleazoid manager, but he's holding our money out on us.
Right. Turns out she was holding out.
Yeah, he literally hears him saying that. Right. I'll give her this money once she stops holding out on me.
Ew.
And so Howard decides, I'm going to kick some ass with Quack Fu.
Great.
And
he does it.
He holds him down with an ice pick, puts an ice pick through his earring.
It was a big thing during this time because piercings were still on the fringes. Now everyone's got a piercing, but there are so many 80s movies that injure someone with their piercing. Now, if someone has a piercing in a movie, they're just cool or they're just a guy. But if you had like a nose ring or a nipple ring or something in the 80s, you were going to get damaged from it. I will try to think of other examples.
Most people I've known in life who get a piercing, including you, like I'd say half the time it seems like it doesn't end well. Like there's there's an infection or a trip to the hospital, or the hole just won't stay a hole.
What did I do? It's just a process. Yeah, I ripped my nose ring out several times in my sleep and bled everywhere. But now it's healed and it's fine. Why are you going to bring up my business?
No, that's one of the successful ones. Patrick,
Sid, what are you
our freshman
talking?
year of college, my friend Patrick got his lip pierced. And in the middle of the night, we had to go to a hospital in Baton Rouge, and we had to call information to find it because there's just blood gushing from his lip.
Okay, well, he's just a little bitch. And you were being bitches about it.
Probably.
It was going to be fine. We're 17 and we don't know what we're doing.
I like that Howard threatens Ginger. Ginger's the name of the manager. He threatens him with space rabies, and Ginger's like, is that a real disease? And then his friend Richie's like, I don't know, Ginger, I heard something about it on the news.
Okay. Then idiots being idiots.
Howard goes into the dressing room of the Cherry Bombs, and they're all like, oh, hi, Howard. We heard so much about you.
Well, because, yeah, if you met a duck, Matt, when you tell people about the fucking duck you met?
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't complaining.
I think it's sweet. This is the sweetest scene in the entire movie. She goes, hi, ducky. And it was like, okay, I get it. I get why John, our listener who requested this, likes their relationship. It goes off the rails for me in the bedroom scene. I didn't need it. But if they hadn't had it, I'd say the sweetness and the playful back and forth works for me completely, except for that one way over the top scene.
I think that's why that scene is why it works. Well, I think if the sex scene wasn't there, you'd be wondering about
if they're ever going to have sex. Okay, so you're saying like because they basically say we're not going to do that, but he gets an erection.
I admire the movie for going for it.
All right.
He goes into their dressing room, and then Tim Robbins comes in because he's dating one of the other Cherry Bombs.
Right.
And that's why I think he was like a composite character of multiple characters. But he comes in and he's like, sorry, ladies, I missed the show. I came to see you undressed, though. He has a lot of funny deliveries. Yeah. And he's like, I was talking to some astrophysicists, the ones who discovered that Aztecs came from Mars. Anyway, we're going to figure out where you come from. I just need a feather. And he plucks a feather.
And God, does he get upset.
Yeah, well, Howard didn't consent to him taking his feather.
Right, but like ducks molt. Like it's a part, you shed your feathers and then you grow new ones. It's part of, he's helping.
But he forcibly removed it.
Fine.
It's like if you cut a cat's whiskers off. Like, yeah, the whiskers
that is different. The whiskers are to help them find where they are in space and time. It also helps their balance. That's different. These feathers are not helping him stay upright.
Feathers have a reason. There's a reason they have feathers. Okay. So yeah, then the sex scene, and it's pretty steamy.
Okay.
Beverly, they go back to Beverly's apartment, and she gets ready for bed in just the skimpiest of underwear.
There's no way she's comfortable in all that.
She climbs into bed, and she's like, "Hey, Ducky, come lie next to me. Let's watch David Letterman."
That actually sounds nice.
And well, wait. First, she's like basically presenting for him. She's like holding up her butt, and he's like, feathers. I'm kind of learning to appreciate the human female form. And she turns around, she's like, Howard.
I can't even believe you'd say that about my butt I'm presenting.
So she's like, come on, get into bed. It's time for bed, even though all the lights are on. She makes him get into bed, and then she threatens to have sex with him. Like she's about to take her shirt off. She's rubbing his stomach.
No, God. He's wearing little kid's pajamas, and when she puts her hand in his tiny little boy's pajamas, I am like going to throw up in my mouth. He seems like a little boy. It is so fucking uncomfortable because he's uncomfortable. He's acting like a little boy all of a sudden. All of a sudden, he's not a man anymore. He doesn't want it. That is why I was like, oh, fuck this. Okay, no.
Yeah, and I wonder if it was the kid or the adult in the costume for that moment.
I thought you said it's all adult.
I think it is mostly the adult. The intention was kid for most scenes, adult. I know you
said it, the intention, but then you said the kid was like claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm. When she rubs his stomach, his feathers on the top of his head poke up. Ooh. So funny little bone. Yeah, if the movie needed to be way more of this, or not have it at all,
or
like this
have
needed to
him topless, like in boxers, dressed like a grown man, going to bed.
Okay,
not like a little boy going to bed, and you're scared like a little boy. Ew.
Yeah, we need to believe she might actually want to fuck him.
And not because he's a little boy. Because again, I've been confused the whole time. Does she think he's adorable and want to take care of him? Or does she think he's hot? And why is it both?
You're right. It needs to, like how Jessica Rabbit feels about Roger Rabbit.
Yes, it's all sex.
Okay.
And so you buy it. You buy that he's a sexual being and that he's doing something right when it's both. Dude, ew.
This, Lea Thompson's daughter, Zoe Deutsch, who's a very successful actress now. I just want to play this 30 seconds. She was on Conan O'Brien a few years ago talking about when she was a kid and she watched this scene of the movie.
Oh, good.
So there's a particular scene in the film in which my mother makes love to a duck. And
you saw that as a child?
And I saw it, and so what's the next step? I go to my father, I say to my mother, I'm like, oh my God, I know the duck's name was Howard. Dad, your name is Howard. This is complicated. Dad will love you more than this duck will. Like, I was really like making a case for...
Oh, you thought that she was going to leave your dad for a duck?
A duck. And so eventually they're like, it's for grown-ups, this film, you don't need to watch that. You weren't supposed to see that. And so at school, when people would ask me what my mom does for a living, I would say she's an actress in adult films.
I thought that was cute.
She's cute. She's fine. She's no Lea.
Okay. You see two women and you're like, I got to pit them against each other. There can only be one. So Tim Robbins and Jeffrey Jones show up. There's a weird tent just outside their bed that's casting a silhouette.
It's not a tent. It's just a tarp. It's to divide the bedroom area from the rest of the area because it's a very open room.
And they're like, sorry, the door was open. Well, why was the door open? Tim Robbins with Jeffrey Jones. Jeffrey Jones is playing Dr. Walter Jennings. He's like a big science man. And they're like, we found your feather. It matches another feather that we found in a portal or something. Well, we have a laser spectroscope experiment, and that must be what pulled you across space. And if we can just reverse the polarity or something, we can send you back. But we got to do it right now because the planets are still in alignment. Okay, so that's the engine of the rest of the movie. We got a ticking clock. We got to line up the things.
I did not expect such a turn. And it just became a completely different movie. One I did not sign up for.
What did you sign up for?
What I had endured the first 20 minutes of, or whatever it was.
And the poster of the movie has him reading a Rolling Egg magazine with Beverly on the cover. And so I was like, oh, this must be like he helps her become a star.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I was like, that's it. Okay, I'm down with that.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the big problems with all the action that happens in the second half of the movie is it could just as easily happen in a non-Howard the Duck movie. Like it's not
right.
None of it has anything to do with him being a duck.
Exactly. It's just like we know how to do this cool thing with glowing, making a person glow. We know how to make a person's eyes glow now. We've got a guy that does stop motion.
Yeah.
Like it's just like we know how to do these things, and the kids loved it in Beetlejuice and in Ghostbusters. So they're gonna love a duck. They're gonna love all this crap, and they probably weren't wrong. But it's why it did not take off. It's why adults did. You need both.
You have a unique opportunity, a Howard the Duck movie. You've only got one shot at it. What can you only do
with a duck? Right. And you don't let him fly. I don't need him to. That would be weird if he was just flying all the time. But he can't swim. How is that evolutionary? Makes sense. Like, it's like us not knowing how to climb a tree. We do. We can. It's dumb. I don't know. I just feel like there's got to be things that are interesting because he's a duck, and they just completely give up.
They're concerned that this laser thing brought something else or is going to bring something else.
They seem to know right away. Well, I guess it's because he is the thing that we get so much information.
Yeah.
But why did it have to be a demon? Why couldn't it have been a celestial thing? Why couldn't it have been something why add another layer? Now we have to believe in heaven and hell? Is that because you've already told us that there are other planets and the Bible doesn't include these other planets in the Bible? So you need to make sure this movie also, don't worry guys, we also believe in heaven and hell because look, demons.
I didn't take them to be literal,
yes,
Christian demons.
He says it multiple times. Yeah, what else does demon mean?
It's a space alien, just a bad space alien.
Then say aliens. He said they were demons who were banished to this part of the universe because of how evil they were.
But not by God.
You're deciding that. I really think that they probably were just hedging their bets.
Okay, to make it palatable for...
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the cops come and they arrest Howard. They're they think he's a costumed man. So they try to strip off the costume.
Which makes me upset.
And one of the cops says, I think the duckness is inborn, sir.
Wait. But you're skipping over the part that is the most upsetting to me, the sushi scene.
No, that's later.
How is that later?
That's like, I've got this in perfect order.
You get things out of order all the time.
No, I don't.
You
and
do.
Definitely not here.
All right, then.
Because the sushi is the next slide, as you will see.
I mean, that doesn't mean you got it in the right order. But I don't remember
no.
cops busting. So cops busted this up?
The cops bust in.
They made them get on the run?
Yes, and then Beverly helps him escape, and I like that she helps him escape by stealing a gun from a cop, and she holds it on the cop, and then she looks over at Howard for approval. It's sweet.
That is sweet.
And then she
says, I'm doing a felony.
And she says, book him, ducko.
It's like, well, we're not going to go to that trouble, and I also don't have the technology for that, so let's just leave.
As all of this is happening, they're like, Jeffrey Jones disappeared. We don't know what happened to him. Dr. Jennings disappeared. We don't know what happened to him. But then Howard and Beverly find him, but he appears to have come back wrong. He's like, he's not himself.
He's like, well, what's his name in the people suit in Men in Black? Like Edgar in our people suit.
Yes. But he's still him, but the demon is taking him over.
Yeah. Which I think he plays well. I mean, I think he's a talented
Yes, I know. He's very good in this movie. I mean, it makes perfectly, and he's great in Beetlejuice.
Of all people to be called Ginger, though, why not him? He's an actual Ginger. But fine.
So the three of them go on the lam together, and they go to a Cajun sushi diner.
Which is already a Mad Libs fucking joke. Like, I get it. It's supposed to be bumpkin. It's supposed to have plenty of white people because, God forbid, we hire a lot of Asian people for this scene. But it needs to be sushi because, like, it's a trope and a stereotype that Asian cuisine is, like, somehow more cruel or more definitely... The way they treat the carcasses of like the duck
I didn't even think of that.
Hanging in the window.
You're right.
I mean, look at his face that he's making as he's about to. There's so many white chefs in here. Why did they take out him?
It's the Japanese sushi chef who's wearing an Indiana Jones.
I just noticed that. Yeah,
he's going to chop off Howard the Duck's head.
Entire restaurant is ready to do this. It's this is just like Planet of the Apes, the remakes, where it's like your humans talk. If we've long said that the difference between an human as an animal and other animals are our ability to communicate and have speech, and so we assume we have like interior thoughts and a consciousness and a soul and all this. So like, why do you treat your humans so poorly?
Maybe that's what it's saying.
Okay, fine, but like this.
Well, I mean, with that and with this. It is kind of interesting. I'm not saying this movie is doing this, but it is interesting to think, what if animals started talking? How would that change our relationship? And when, it's like I know that the ability of gorillas and chimps to do sign language is kind of overstated.
Well, and then whales, right? You said whales are like
whales are like we don't know how smart they actually are, but then it's also, how do you define intelligence? We it's flawed the way we do it. Just because we have IQs and all these very flawed ways of measuring intelligence. How do we know that whales aren't intelligent in their own way? They have giant brains. They clearly have language. If we have AI that can learn how to decode their language, what if we were able to communicate with them? How would that change our relationship to them?
Right. We're probably just the assholes on the top of their world that are like busying ourselves with random useless projects that actually just make us miserable, and like having the highest ant pile compared to the person next to us and treating our fellow ants like shit. We're just ants on top of their world that's probably perfect down there. Mm-hmm. Like, they're smart. We're up here busying ourselves like morons.
Do they know that we're different from whatever other animals they see?
Or more annoying, probably. And if they can communicate across, okay, let's not have another whale tangent like we like to do. Go on.
Okay, they're in this, but the thing, there is a sign gag where like whatever the restaurant used to be, now they've pasted sushi over the middle of the name, so it's clearly like this restaurant's just trying things. Right. Now it's in its sushi phase, and I expected more shitty 80s sushi jokes, but there weren't really, other than the horrible thing about the chef going mad and wanting to kill this duck.
No, I'd be okay if it were just the chef. The entire restaurant, the guys that got the pies in their face, they had a really sweet waitress who I really liked. I didn't see her in on it, but like. I was disturbed by how much everyone was like, no, yeah, we should kill the duck. For what reason?
No, I think that would really happen.
okay, but they don't even work there. All right, but wait, I did want to, before I forget, there's something so soothing and satisfying by the way Beverly and Howard are completely on the same wavelength with what they think everyone else is up to. So this guy is literally morphing into a demon right in front of them, and they're both just like, he needs coffee. Yeah, okay, Dr. Jen. Like, and they're just looking at each other like, this fucking guy. I just like, it's so soothing to me. Like, yeah, he's gonna be fine. He just needs coffee. And
it's soothing to you because they're so like on the same page about not worrying.
They're chill. Like, so I'm chill. And then whenever they realize, like, okay, no, he has lasers in his eyes and they need his help, they're like, come on, Dr. Jennings, please help us. And like, the demon's kind of nice.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that too. I like that dynamic. Because he's like, he's becoming the demon and he's saying things like, I want to penetrate the inner core of your world and gargle its fluids. And they're like, get a life, doctor.
First, help us with this duck.
Pay for our dinner. And he says, I've disguised my true form, which would be hideous and revolting. And Beverly says, lucky for the people eating. Like, this movie has good jokes. They just every good joke seems like it's teleported in from a better movie.
Yeah.
And he has like this code key that he's going to use to bring other dark overlords of the universe into Earth realm. Meanwhile, that waitress brings some fried eggs and Howard freaks out because he's like, I'm not a cannibal, but these are chicken eggs. You're not a chicken. You're a duck.
Right. I eat monkey brains all the time.
All the time. I eat monkey eggs. And then the angry mob picks up Howard. They're going to cut him apart. And Beverly's like, don't cook him. He's my boyfriend. And they're all like, what? That's fucking weird, bitch.
No, we're definitely going to cook him.
But she sicks Jeffrey Jones on them. And that works.
Great.
Then,
yeah. Like, here's movie number 3. Now there's a plane for some goddamn reason.
Beverly, Jeffrey Jones kidnaps Beverly into an 18-wheeler. They take off in one direction. And then all the cops come, and Tim Robbins had been arrested earlier, so he's in a cop car. So they bring him to this diner, and then Howard like helps him escape the cop car. It's kind of funny how he helps Tim Robbins escape, because Tim Robbins is like, "Can you get a brick and break the window?" And he's like, "I'm gonna try opening the door," but meanwhile he's already crawled out of an open window. They find this glider, light aircraft thing. That I was trying to find out, what do you actually call this? I got the word.
Bike plane. It is a weekend hobby.
An ultralight glider is what it's called. So, and I wanted one of these when I was a kid so fucking bad. And
You'd shoot your eye out.
I still want one. Anything that flies, I just want to fly.
I mean, just if it lifted just a little bit, like just if you pedaled enough, it was your reward. I could get behind that.
That sounds nice.
Just like a little, did it. And that's fine. But
what if we went outside and like our neighbor was just flying around above the trees?
Around. Yeah. Oh God. Flying cars. Someone brought this up earlier today. What a stupid fucking prediction that was. Like, we can't even get automated cars down, let alone flying ones. I was just thinking, we have no business up there. There'd have to be a little hole where you have to deposit your phone. It identifies it as your actual cell phone before it will let you in. Just saying. We don't need teens flying around.
Why do they have to be flying cars? Like, we have airplanes. Why don't they just have consumer grade airplanes for everybody? And then you have your answer for why there's no flying cars.
Wait, because they need to just lift. Right? They can't. That's the whole thing. They need to hover. We don't have space for runways for fucking everybody.
No, I know, but they have airplanes that can go straight up, like military grade shit. Why don't we have that?
Those are expensive.
The answer is because it's expensive. We could if we wanted, but we don't. And it's bullshit.
There would be so much death.
There would.
Okay.
There's already a lot of death. That's what the whales are thinking when they hear about our world.
Then we're going to die off. We'll take care of ourselves.
You're driving around in what? While you're on your phones the whole time?
And you're driving? And you have hands?
What about your little legs?
Okay. Come on.
They fly around this little... They fly around in this little craft over these duck hunters on a marsh, and Howard shouts, Tora, 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 which, of course, was what the Japanese... their signal that the Pearl Harbor attack had initiated. And then he shouts, Banzai. Great.
So, good. More
Japanese...
racism.
Humor. And
I don't know that it's Japanese humor. It sounds at them, not with them.
Yeah, Japanese-centric, where they are the subjects of jokes. So, as we said earlier, like, this is the worst part of the movie. Everything with the fucking glider, because it goes on for fucking ever. And I guess the idea is like, but he's a duck who can't fly, so now he needs to learn how to fly. It sucks.
Fucking sucks. I mean, the movie did not need to be 2 hours. It is a quick solve on this movie.
Fucking long.
Is cut it at least 30 minutes off of this thing.
Well, yes, that would help, but I just think that these are obvious names, but Robert Zemeckis or Tim Burton like knows how to do a comedy like this.
Yeah. Especially
when it involves complicated technology and puppetry and visual effects. Right. It's really hard to do, but you really need to.
You know what it is? It's when someone first starts learning how to either use Photoshop or building a websites, and they really learn that like, oh, you can add motion, you can add an animation to different parts of the website, or in Photoshop, you can add this effect and a glow and an arc. It's like, it's not about knowing that you can do those things. It's about when. These embellishments are to punctuate a point you're making, or it's not the point. Like, you don't just do it because you can. You do it because it's enhancing your story.
Wow, this is neat. I can have my video autoplay on my website with the volume all the way up.
Right. Exactly. All right. Add 10 treatments to this font. No one's got that now. Did we need it? No. All right. Now we're finally, fuck's sake, we're finally all in the same place again. The gang's back together. And I guess they're at the fucking place that has the laser.
Dynatechnics, the science place.
Sure.
They're initiating the laser.
And they are taking their sweet ass time once Filzy announces that there's a weapon that could maybe defeat this lasered electrode demon that we've never ever encountered. And I've also never seen this weapon work, but I've heard it exists. Here's a locked door at this like very secure place. Don't worry, the duck foo will come back and how our kick. So I'm saying they are not in a rush. It takes them forever. And she's just tied to the tracks.
Because there's like Jeffrey Jones says something about the overlords need your body as a vessel. Like they need a human body to, I don't know. It's not. No,
I understand why she's there. I just mean Phil and Howard are going to save her and they are taking forever. Then once they get the weapon into the place, they're not done. They need a random cart, a cart that's got many purposes, but they need a cart to put the gun on because the gun's real heavy, Matt. Luckily, here's the cart, and now we're going to teach Howard to drive it, and then we're going to have a scene where Phil flies off of it, and then now Howard doesn't know how to drive it, so then Phil teaches him how to drive it again, and now what is happening? So much for so long. Thing on top of thing on top of thing, and then they fucking find, like, I don't remember what wipes out the body, or like him, and dual lasers happen and it bursts the demon outside of Dr. Jennings.
Yeah. And then this
and knocks Howard back. Oh no.
Really cool Phil Tippett designed stop motion monster comes out.
That's when that happens. Right. And it's like, did we need this part?
I mean, it looks good, but
get rid of 4 of the other parts.
Yes. Phil Tippett, who we last met on our Evolution episode, but I wrote, it looks cool, but at this point, who cares? I did realize, though, if this movie were successful, George Lucas would have gone back long ago and replaced it with a CGI monster.
Yeah, true.
We never meant it to look like that.
You don't. Okay.
And again, the movie really upped my appreciation for Beetlejuice with the escalating, with the pace, with the effects. Well, Howard defeats the monster with a laser. He points the laser at it and shoots it.
You already had the laser, my guy.
And he does that before it can erase Beverly and Phil. They're like being erased from existence. They're like, Howard, save us.
They're just turning into Tommy TV from fucking Willy Wonka. It's just every fucking little trick that they could pull out of their very sad 80s satchel.
Yeah, Marty McFly disappearing because he's being erased from the timeline.
That's at least interesting. That's at least like
no, I just mean in terms of what's literally happening to them.
Oh, okay.
They're just being erased. I mean, the movie should have done a better job at selling what these people mean to him. He's like, I have to save them because I love them. They mean, at first I wasn't so sure about humans, but now I know there are good ones and these ones I love them so much. Nope, just here we go, shoot you with a laser. And then they're like, oh my God, Howard, the portal is still open. More demons are going to come. He's like, oh, well, I'll close it. Oh, but if you close it, you won't be able to go back to Duck World. He's like, well, okay, then I'll stay on Earth.
All right. It was the morally right thing to do. He was choosing either him going maybe back to his planet over the annihilation of another planet. So I
Sell me on the stakes of what that means to him.
at least he made the right call, and it wasn't something he needed a lot of time. You know, at least like he was a good duck at that point. I mean, I'm not saying he was ever a bad duck, but I was like, all right, glad you did this part fast. Everything else took forever.
In contrast to the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes, when he has the opportunity to leave the Planet of the Apes at the end, he's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no,
he leaves as fast as he can.
And here's a baby for you, adult woman, and okay, bye.
They think Howard's dead at first. Oh no, Howard, you're dead. And then he opens his mouth and he does the demon voice.
Like, way to not get the moment, my man.
But he's just joking.
Why? Haven't we been through enough?
And the Cherry Bombs are playing this huge fucking sold out arena show. And they're singing
sold out.
Howard the Duck.
But wait, didn't you know that first she had to say, this one goes out to my manager. Don't you think when you start singing about a duck, they'll know who that one goes out to? You're singing his theme song.
What's the problem?
She's like, okay, well, this next song I wrote, it goes out to my manager. It's like, we'll get that from context clues. When your entire song is Howard the Duck.
If I have a song that was about you and I say, all right, this one goes out to my wife.
Lacey, my wife who has black hair, who also got a boob job. It is so specifically only about this duck. Yes, but
that tells everybody he's also my manager, because that's not in the text of the song.
Oh my God.
He's our manager.
You don't know that. You don't know the words of the song. It's probably, he manages us and now we're famous DuckTales.
Again.
Ooh.
She does a very poor job of playing the guitar.
No one cares.
And she really, really no-sells playing it with her teeth. Also, the drummer is playing this stand-up electric drum kit.
Maybe that was a thing for like a year.
Maybe. Also, Tim Robbins is now their backstage tech guy with a headset and a clipboard.
Or he just brought those things from home.
Just wants to feel included.
He seems like the guy that would bring things from home.
Yeah. And then Howard comes on stage and he shreds on guitar and Howard the Duck. And I just like feeling for these people who thought like this is the big celebration at the end of the movie for what's obviously going to be a giant hit, beloved movie franchise. That's it.
Oh, thank God.